Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Happily Ever Caffeinated, the weekly wedding video series where we get stupid eye on coffee and talk about weddings. I am your host, Jessie Stellick of Photo Bohemia, and I'm here today with somebody very special, Brooke Palmer Kuhl of rsbpevents.com, BP, Brooke Palmer. And we're going to be talking about the B word.
The B word.
The big B word, budgets. Stick around. Budgets. See, what's so funny is that every time I talk to you, it's dog related. Like
Correct.
it's D word related.
I know that was going to be the topic of our conversation because we're very good at it.
It would come around to that at some point, so I just wanted to
Snow
knock it out right
dogs,
away.
we have them.
Yes.
Dust bunnies on our house.
Happiness.
What's the vacuum you use to get all the dust hair up?
Yeah, and which brand? Yes.
Yes.
So no, we're talking about very important things for weddings because nobody talks about the budget. I feel like it's a scary topic.
And you know, as more and more as I've been talking to other wedding professionals and hanging out in the community, I think that nobody talks about it. I think this is not a very transparent community. I definitely think in the photography community, you guys are a little more forthright about pricing. I find that with planners, however, people like to keep everything very close to the fold. And I think that's for two reasons. One, because the experienced planners, like myself and others that you have had on the show, tend to charge a little more than, say, maybe some of the more newer planners in the market.
True.
That doesn't mean they're any less better than we are. They're just less experienced.
Right.
You know, I've done 150 plus weddings. They've maybe done 10.
Right.
So it's hard to, as an experienced planner with 15 years of experience, say to someone, oh, I can compete with a $1,500 day of coordinator. And I mean that because I think that it's making a bad name for all planners in the market. It's much like photographers when they undercut each other. That doesn't do anybody any good. Competition is healthy. For example, we're at a Buddy Brew. There's a Starbucks right down the street.
There is.
I guarantee you that Buddy Brew is not going to say, oh, well, I'm going to make my coffee cheaper than Starbucks because we need more customers. If you're good at what you do and you're the best at what you do, then you own your price. So I guess that's my first tip, is own your price. So if you're a planner and you feel that you need to make a certain amount of money based on how many weddings you think you're taking in a year or whatever it is. I don't know what your equations are, and that's everybody's business is just that, their business. But you have to make sure that you're sticking to it.
Right.
9 times out of 10 when somebody tells me what they cost for a wedding, they're lying. I promise you. Unless I see their contracts, they're lying.
Yeah.
And the reason why I know that is because I'm the same person. I used to be that way. And then I got into the whole philosophy of like, I start here. So I start here if I'm doing day of coordination, which is a ridiculous word. So all you planners out there, don't do it. You never do day of, you do month of. Let's be honest. Don't ever call it day of because that's not what it is.
You're never going to show up at a wedding the day of and be like, who are your vendors?
Here's $1,000. I hope this is all going to come together. Worst idea ever. I've got better things to do than get out of bed for $1,000. And I know that sounds maybe crass, but that's the truth. Like, you are not doing that bride any service by showing up and hoping that you can pull it off. Because frankly, it's a hard job for you and it's going to be a hard job for the bride. So I think be transparent. I also think own your price and make sure that you're clear with your bride. A lot of times when I meet with brides, I'm very upfront. And I say, look, you know, there are a lot of planners in this market, much like there's a lot of photographers in this market. Do you like my work? Do you like the style of things that I do? Because it has to be a good fit.
Personality.
Right. You're going to spend the most time with me over the next 9 to 12 months of your planning. So I hope you like me. You know, and I'm not planning somebody's wedding just to go for the 5-star wedding writer review either. I'm going to give all my clients that kind of service, but they're going to pay for it. So if you want somebody that's responsive and available to you and brings a staff of people, not a legion of interns, I mean people that actually have planned an event before, then that's the kind of experience I think some of these higher end weddings in this town need. You know, not everybody thinks that a venue coordinator is going to handle it. Well, they're just not. And my venue coordinator friends tell me all the time. They're not going to be bustling your dress.
No.
They're not going to be putting out your place cards. Some of them do because they're nice.
Right.
But that's frankly not their job.
And there's a reason they're called venue coordinators. They're
Right.
coordinating the details of the venue. They're not your personal coordinator.
So it's the same, again, I keep likening it back to photography, but if somebody's into the photography world and they want to spend that kind of money on a photographer, justify your price as a planner, same as photography. I always say I pay for myself, so you get what you pay.
Right.
So I think a lot of planners need to give education to some of these brides as to what is realistic and what their budget's going to be. If you're a tent in the middle of a field somewhere, your budget's going to probably go up pretty fast because you have to construct everything versus being a hotel wedding at the Epicurean kind of thing. However, people don't understand food and beverage costs. They don't understand taxes and gratuities. So before you get into that nitty-gritty, really explain to the bride, how much money do you want to spend? Just because you have it doesn't mean you want to spend it.
Right.
So what is your important thing? If you want to spend $1 million on photography, I got it. I want to make sure. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to call Jesse.
Yes.
But
only for $1 million. That's it.
That's the point. I mean, people find no issue with spending that kind of money on photography, but then they'll nickel and dime the person that's making it all go, or who introduced you to them in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I wish that everybody in the vendor world, is everybody listening? Make sure that you recommend planners. Believe me, we're your biggest advocates. Be our friend.
That's actually my first question when I talk to them. Who's your planner? Because I know if they don't have a planner, they're going to look at me, and I have no idea what their plans are for the day. Like, right. I'm taking pictures. That's it.
Your job is not to make sure that the mom and dad show up at the right time.
No, not at all.
No.
I feel like I could talk to you forever.
We could.
You are fabulous. I just feel like this wealth of experience bubbling out of you, and we have to do
It's called Good Timelines. I know we're getting it off, but
no, absolutely.
That'll be our next episode.
I like it. Cheers.
Cheers. We need champagne.
Dude, oh man, champagne. That needs to be
next
champagne.
time.
We'll have
Happily Ever Champaigninated with fluffy dogs and bubbles. Next episode. Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
Always question with the Q. Questions help us learn things new. Question marks are very cool, especially when you're in school. Always question when you try. You'll find who, what, where, when, why. Question marks are very fun. Let's break them down now one by one.